Hello, happiness abounder, and welcome back. Today I have two things I specifically want to talk to you about, and both of them, well, there's a life lesson like we always have, an actionable takeaway. Both of them also have to do with something that you can do right now to start being happier. And I don't mean that as like a sales pitch or anything like that, but I mean literally, these are two things that you could do taking the action right now to be happier. So the first one is, I have a free challenge coming up, completely free, no obligation or anything, and it's No Netflix November. Now, before you're like, oh, I've already stopped Netflix, this isn't so much about Netflix as it is about quitting emotional buffering. And I use No Netflix November because Netflix is and has been my vice, has been my emotional buffering go-to. And so several years ago, I started a challenge for myself, which I'm now bringing to you. I started a challenge for myself called No Netflix November because what I was doing at the time was I would go to work, I would come home, and work had been hard, and my life was hard. And so I'd come home, I'd sit down in front of the TV, I'd turn it on. And we didn't have TV, so I'd turn on Netflix. Then that wasn't quite enough. I could still feel the loneliness. I could still feel the anxiety, the overwhelm, the frustration. So then I'd go to the fridge and I would buy myself, at the time, I would buy myself the 10 for 10 deal with cans of frosting. Now you may have heard this story before, but bear with me. I would buy the cans of frosting. What I would do, not to give you any ideas, but it is amazing, I would put the cans of frosting in my freezer. Frosting doesn't quite freeze, so if you have it in there and you take it out for like 2 minutes, it's almost like eating frosting ice cream. Quite good, but incredibly unhealthy. Like so much so. And I would go through a can of frosting a night. So I'd get the 10 for 10 deal, and every 10 days I would go back and I'd get my next set of 10. So here I am, sitting in front of the TV, slouched, clicking through, eating my cans of frosting. And then I would go to my phone and I would play games on them or on the phone, or I would start scrolling through social media. And I would do that for hours, a minimum of at least 6 hours a night. So imagine coming home from work, being exhausted, overwhelmed, anxious, feeling lonely, turning to the TV and doing nothing but watching that, eating cans of frosting and scrolling on my phone all at the same time for 6 or more hours. By the time that I would finish watching TV, it had done the "Are you still watching?" several times. I would go to bed late. I would wake up late and tired and exhausted. I'd feel guilty and shameful about how the night before I didn't get anything done. I'd put off those things that I said I would do. I had paused my life pretty much. And so I'd feel guilty and I'd feel shameful about it. And then I'd go to work, come back home, and do it all over again. But here's the thing I realized. After at least minimum 9 months of doing this, I realized I wanted something different. I wanted something to change. And as I looked at how things were going, I realized that Netflix was the thing that I would stay addicted to, that would lead me to be like, I need something to do with my hands, so I'd get the frosting, and I need something to do with my hands again and focus on something else too, I'd go get my phone. So what I decided was in October, this was several years ago, but in October, I was like, what if I did something like a No Netflix November, and for 30 days, I didn't watch TV? I was like, I'm going to try it. We all know, if you've listened to previous episodes, like 75 Hard, we all know Taylor loves a challenge. So I was like, I'm going to challenge myself to do a no Netflix November. You guys, I have to tell you, so much in my life changed by doing that challenge for myself. First thing, I came home, I went to sit on the couch. I sat on the couch and I just sat there and be like, I want to watch Netflix. I want to watch Netflix. I need to watch TV. I need to, and I kind of got in this panic and I was like, what is this? So I got off of the couch. It's like, no, I'm not going to turn on Netflix. And the crazy thing was that I often felt like I was hungry because besides the can of frosting, I would eat dinner, I would eat snacks, and then I'd eat cans of frosting and then maybe another snack over that 6-hour period. It didn't take me 6 hours to down a can of frosting, I can tell you that much. So I was eating a lot. And what I realized was that I wasn't eating because I was hungry. I was eating because I was bored and I was emotionally numbing while I was watching TV. So when I cut out watching Netflix and stopped sitting down on the couch to watch Netflix, I discovered I wasn't hungry in the evenings. I didn't need to eat for 6 hours straight. The next thing I realized was that I had a lot of free time. So I started reading books. I started doing agility with my dog, which I think I've shared this on a few podcasts that I've been a guest on. I don't know if I've ever shared it here. Can't remember, 500 plus episodes, But at the time, I was at least 20 pounds overweight. My dog, who I love so much, and I have 2 now, but at the time it was just me and my dog, Owen. At the time, he had gained a lot of weight. So around the time where I'm like, maybe I'll do a no Netflix November, I took him to the vet and the vet was like, he's like 20 pounds overweight, which is a lot for a dog. And I was so ashamed that I'd let him fall into that state of deterioration. So when I started No Netflix November and I had the time on my hands, I decided we would go do agility, which is like a dog obstacle course is the simplest way to put it. We would go take agility classes because we had done them back in the other town that we had lived in a couple years ago, and like it was fun, like we could do it. It'll be something to get me out of the house because I have all this free time now. I'll make some new friends. He'll get out of the house. We'll both be exercising because it's a running type of sport. Like, let's just try it. So we started doing agility. It wasn't quite as quick for my dog, Owen, as it was for me. But after doing, and in the middle of doing No Netflix November, in that month, I lost the 20 pounds that I had been overweight. And I know that's a lot of like, what? But it really was because I was just eating for 6 hours straight every single night, on top of eating a breakfast and a lunch and some snacks at work. So it wasn't like an unhealthy, like I just stopped eating. It literally was, I just wasn't hungry and I started paying more attention. I had never been hungry to begin with. I was just numbing my emotions. But I lost the 20 pounds. Eventually, Owen lost the 20 pounds. Like I said, I read a lot more books. I reinvested into myself. I made other friends. I joined other communities like agility. And in that month of No Netflix November, a lot of things changed and shifted. It wasn't on my phone as much. I actually went and got coloring books because they were super trendy back then and would color. I would write letters to people. My house is very clean, which had been a pigsty before because I didn't have time to clean it. And I didn't want to because I was so overwhelmed and anxious and lonely and hurting and shameful and guilty. And all of those just kept on compounding and compounding, along with my weight compounding, along with my relationships with friends and family failing. I mean, it was a mess. But by cutting out Netflix, I realized I cut out a bookend habit. So that habit of watching Netflix every night led to all these other bad habits. But by cutting it out, it forced me to realize and realign my evenings to be more with who I wanted to be in the life I actually wanted. I started to feel happier. I started to feel more in control. The anxiety started to go away. the overwhelm started to go away? Because I started working through it. I started changing things. And it all started. It all began with cutting out Netflix for at least 30 days. And now I know that that is my numbing tool of choice, which then when I feel overwhelmed, I go, okay, my first instinct is to go and watch Netflix, but what if I don't? What if instead I use the clear method, I use the rope method, I journal through it, I sit in my emotions for a minute, and I cognizantly make the decision to pivot. I pivot intentionally. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm overwhelmed, I just want to forget it for a minute, and I can make that choice, but I can come back from it versus where it was before. It was 9 months every day straight. That was on a work day. Don't even get me started on weekends. It was bad. And I'm not one who's prone to exaggerate. So now, years later, you've heard me talk about emotional buffering. You've heard me talk about the clear method, the rote model, like all of these things. But a lot of those came out of understanding that I was using TV to emotionally buffer, to emotionally numb. And a lot of the stuff I've learned about happiness habits came from that time period. Not just the 30 days, but the 30 days was a huge catalyst in my life. So as I think about things now, and November is right around the corner, I want to invite you to join me in the No Netflix November Challenge. It's completely free. Completely free. It's a Facebook group called Happiness Abounders. Abounders with the S at the end. And every day for 30 days, I'll be going in there and sharing a live video, walking you through an exercise, sharing something, a question, a prompt to help you start to shift your mindset away from the TV or the other emotional numbing things that you may do, like gaming, scrolling on your phone, binge eating, binge watching. Maybe it's drinking alcohol. Maybe it's turning to drugs, whatever it is for you. When it crosses over from entertainment to escapism, that is when it becomes emotional numbing. Emotional buffering and numbing. I promise I can say that. But that's when it crosses over. And so in these 30 days, I will be guiding you in how you can change those mindsets and transform your life. So the question that I have for you today, the action item I have for you today, number 1, is to consider what you're doing if you've had a bad day, or you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious or any of those things. What are you doing that could be possibly numbing your emotions versus helping you work through them? Because if you work through them, your life levels up and levels up and levels up. If you don't work through them, you stay stagnant. You're more prone to the anxiety, more prone to the overwhelm. And I don't want you to spend 9 months like I did. I want to help you break through that. I want you to step into the best version of you. And I want you to have a month of breakthroughs like I did way back in the day. So my question for you is what are you doing to emotionally numb? And is it something you want to change? Because if it is, please come join the free challenge. 30 days of breakthroughs, 30 days of more time back in your life. Come join us. So that's number 1. I told you there were 2 things today. The second thing is that I told you that while that was all happening, one of the things that I did when I cut off Netflix was I leaned into reading a lot more books. And one of the genres of books that really changed things for me during that time and has continued to change things for me is personal development. So if you're a longtime listener, you know that since April, I have had a personal development book club specific for happiness abounders just like you who are interested in investing back into themselves, reading and learning from the world's top mentors and authors, and really connecting with a group of like-minded individuals. And I'm not saying like-minded local individuals. We have people from all over the world in this club. And it's not just a few of us, there's about 20 of us so far. And we talk almost daily in this group about what we're learning, how we're applying it, the breakthroughs that we're getting. One of my favorite things to say is I think it was about month 2 or 3, someone shared a picture of a page and they highlighted the whole second paragraph. And I read it and I was like, I don't think I even read that. Have I read that part yet? And I looked at my book and I went back and I had highlighted the whole first paragraph of that page. So I had read it, but because I'd highlighted the whole first paragraph, I had stuck with that in my mind as I kept reading. So by this person sharing their takeaway, I was able to learn more and apply more even then. And it's not just physical books. We have people who are audio learners, probably like you if you are listening to the podcast, and they listen to their books on audio. We have others who do it in a digital format and others who have the hard copy. So there's no limitation in this club for you to how you read the book or how you participate. But if you want to be with a group of people who get it, with a group of people who are just as invested in personal development as you are, who want to be happier and who want to learn from the best, I really want to encourage you to come join us, especially during No Netflix November, because if you're doing that challenge, you're going to have some free time. You might as well double up on the personal development and investment there and consider joining the book club. So if that sounds like something you want to do, we are open for new members until November 5th. So there's a little bit of a timeline. We close after that because anybody that joins after the 5th, you're going to be a little bit behind. And like I said, we talk every day. We know the book that we're getting. It's voted on by the group on the last day of the month. So we have that 5-day period to get the books to us and to start reading. So if you join after that, it can feel a little delayed, and I want you to have the best experience possible in the book club. So there's tons and tons and tons of other free stuff that comes with it, all these other benefits, but I want to encourage you, especially if you resonated with the No Netflix November challenge and what I went through, and you're like, I want something different. I want to be part of that challenge. I want that development. Reading books, listening to books, whatever works for you can really help fill that time and also help you work through those emotions and give you action items to do to help you in that space. So I highly want to say and recommend and encourage you to come and join the book club, be a part of our community, and to really check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. So it's bookclub.happinessabound.com. Go to that website, again, bookclub.happinessabound.com, and you can learn all the cool stuff about the book club and sign up and join us. But regardless of that, I hope that you will come and join the free challenge in the Facebook group, Happiness Abounders. Just request to join. I will let you in after you fill out the little question things at the beginning. I'll let you in, and on November 1st, we will get that started. So, like I said at the start, I don't want this to be a whole pitch. Your action item and takeaway is consider what you're doing for emotional numbing. Did you get any of those that I had mentioned? If so, take November and detox. Take November and cut out that habit. And I can help you with that over in the free challenge if you so wish. So that said, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you will join me in the challenge, definitely. I hope you'll consider joining me in the book club. It's an amazing thing, and I think both these are going to be awesome. And I really, really want to save you the 9 months of pain and heartache that I had. So that said, I'll see you over there in the community and in the club. And remember, you are capable of happiness abound.